What is going on, people? I am here for something a little bit different, something that I've seen other people do on their channels, and I thought, I elaborate on it for those who maybe watch my stuff and don't watch theirs. But a couple people have mentioned, boutique titles, like boutique companies. But I want to expand on that because you have your, boutique companies, but then there's other, lower budget companies or companies that I guess wouldn't fall under that whole criteria or whatever, or possibly they do and I just don't, know. But there's a whole bunch of different companies that especially for collectors, this is, I guess this video will be more for collectors, but if you're looking for other movies to watch, maybe look under these umbrellas and check for movies either on Shudder or something like that. But I'm going to show you different companies that you should check out for titles if you're looking to collect, if you're looking for newer, content, if it's besides the Universal, it's besides, the bigger names, Paramount and stuff like that. These are the, lower budget or, independent or whatever have you, like I said, boutique titles as well. But before I get into that, hopefully everyone's staying safe. Hopefully everyone's staying sane. And, it's a tough time. So this is another reason why I want to, put out certain companies and stuff, so maybe you could look for different movies that you've never seen before and you might want to check out. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you enjoy this video and you learned something, hit that like button, and of course hit that bell button so you know when I do upload more stuff. So, like I said, these are companies that aren't the big names. Some of them are offshoots of those companies, but other ones are, lower budget, independent, stuff that you'll pick up movies that you probably have never heard of or seen before or along those lines. So let me get into the bigger ones first. Ones that, people would know. You have your Criterions, which honestly I don't have many of. That was one I just never got into. With the boutique titles, you get the ones that are put out that have, a bunch of special features and a good look to them and all that stuff. So I guess all these, if you go by that definition, could be boutique titles. But, you get your bigger ones. Your Scream Factory / Shout Factory. Some people might not know. Scream, it's under a parent company, Shout Factory, which puts out, a whole bunch of different, you have Shout Kids, which puts out a lot of kids stuff. They have, I don't know if it falls under that, but I do have they have, all the cartoon box sets. They have Hey Arnold, they have All Real Monsters, they have the Wild Thornberries and stuff like that. I don't know if that falls under that particular one, like Shout Kids, but they have that. They have Shout Factory, which they put out, different titles, independent works, lower, I wouldn't call it lower budget, but it's more independent stuff that maybe you've never heard of. They have Shout Select, which is, classic movies that maybe never might have gotten a release before, or they get put out. And Shout Factory, and which I'm going to get into, they have a lot of special features that are put onto it. Maybe not a lot. Well, so it depends on the movie. Sometimes they put a lot of special features into it. Sometimes it's, limited. But for the fact is, Shout Factory / Scream Factory / Shout Kids / Shout Select, they put out a lot of, I don't want to say obscure movies either, because I've heard of a lot of the titles, whether it be for the different brands, but sometimes they'll put out stuff that you might not have thought might come out. So that's Shout Factory here. Like I said, they have the Shout Kids, but the one that I collect the most of, because I am a horror fan, is Scream Factory. So Scream Factory puts out a few different things. Actually, let me grab another one that I should have grabbed before, but I wasn't thinking. So let me just grab anything off the shelf. So they have pretty much 4 different kinds of movies that you can get from there. Well, technically. You have Scream Factory has put out, a bunch of these box sets. You have Critters, The Fly, Poison Ivy collection, a whole bunch of stuff. The Omen collection, Larry Fessenden, hopefully I said that right. They have the Friday the 13th box coming out, Halloween. So they do have box sets and all this stuff, which are actually, really nice. The way they put it. Each film comes with, its own special features and stuff. Then they go into their collector's editions, which put a little bit more emphasis on, special features, the look and stuff, which a lot of the times too with the collector's editions, they'll come with collectible slipcovers, which are sought after sometimes more than the movie itself, because sometimes you'll just get the movie, but then with the slipcover they have, a special edition. I wouldn't call it special edition, but the slipcovers sometimes are harder to find than the actual movie themselves, so they kind of have their own, price range by itself. Then they have, your regular standard, Blu-ray, not a collector series, so sometimes you'll get some special features, but not, fully compact or whatever, but you'll get, your regular title releases. This one, the other thing with Scream Factory, a lot of the times too, is certain movies will go out of print. Sometimes they'll just have enough movies and keep on making them. Sometimes they take movies, especially to, make room for more titles in this series or collection or whatever you want to call it. They'll get rid of some. This one happens to be out of print. But they do have ones that, go for more money and stuff. But this is a company that, will have stuff. And then they started making steelbooks. So they have different, different editions, different stuff of their, titles. So you get the box sets, you get collector's series, you get your collector's edition, the regular standard edition, and then the steelbooks. So that's Scream Factory. I'm sure a lot of people know about it, but for those who don't, it's definitely one that they haven't, not an endless amount of titles and stuff, but they do have a lot of stuff. It's one of the collections that it's pretty hard to collect everything unless you started from the beginning. Their collection is gigantic. If you got every single one of the movies, is in the hundreds and stuff like that. So one of the harder ones to collect. Another boutique title is Twilight Time. The only problem is Twilight Time, I believe, is out of pretty much ended, or close to. The other thing with Twilight Time too is they'll put out limited edition runs of their movies. Like most of them, I think, are like 2,500 or something like that. Sometimes 5,000. Sometimes, but most of the time they'll put out like limited runs of their movies. And then they're a little bit harder to find, a little bit harder to collect. Like this is one of the ones that. But the thing is, they'll put out, I guess, get the rights to the movie, put out a limited edition, and then someone else will take it. So sometimes the movie, you're looking for like a Twilight Time movie, and then it'll be like $50, but then someone else will put out the movie, and then the movie you bought for $50, it's worth, average, 20. So if you're looking to collect Twilight Times, you got to be wary of it, because you're going to be paying a high premium, but then, like I said, someone will take the rights, and then the movie will go down. Another, really cool company that put out, I don't want to, like I said, with some of these, they're not obscure movies, but there's sometimes movies that you might not, think will go out, but it's Kino Lober or Lober or whatever you want to, however it's pronounced. But they put out a lot of, especially for me, a lot of the titles that I own are movies from my childhood. Good Son, The Sixth Man, Kazam, a whole bunch of movies that, might not have seen the light of day with your Universals or your Paramount or Anchor Bay or anything like that. A lot of these titles probably wouldn't have been put out by the bigger companies, but they were put out by, like I said, Kino Lober, Scream Factory, stuff like that. Another one, this one is numbered. So, it has right now 17. I did a video for it. It's the Vestron collection. Pretty much right now they have 17 titles in it. There's 2 other ones coming out, Little Monsters and Shivers. But this is another one with a whole bunch of special features, different 4K and stuff like that. So if you're looking for another company to look to get, Vestron is up there for me. I'm going to try to go through this quick because I have a whole bunch of other titles I want to get to. One of the other bigger ones is Arrow, and then you get your normal, usual. They have Arrow UK, which unfortunately most of them don't play in the American Blu-ray players, but you do have Arrow Video US, where you'll get different titles. Sometimes you'll get the same ones, but the Arrow US will play in regular standard ones. These come in 2K to 4K restorations, and they have more, from obscure horror movies to action movies to foreign movies to kung fu and stuff. Arrow puts out a whole bunch of things, and myself, I collect the horror. But then they also put out like special editions. They have Society, this one here, crazy ass movie if you've never seen it before. They'll put out these nice looking box sets. They have a Donnie Darko one, which I own. The Killer Clowns from Outer Space is like a special edition. The House set that they put out, really cool stuff. Arrow again puts a whole bunch of emphasis on special features and transfer and stuff like that. Then you get some of these. Like 88 Films, they have a whole section, but these are overseas as well. Some of them will play, sometimes they don't play, but 88 Films, you'll know 88 Films because of the red cases. They put out a lot of like lower budget horror stuff like that. Another one is Code Red. They do have collector series and numbers on their collection as well. Here you go. One of the companies that I've recently really gotten into, and that's Vinegar Syndrome. Vinegar Syndrome is one that puts out more obscure horror. They'll put out like exploitation films. They put out some movies that are like borderline porn kind of deal, from like the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s, stuff like that. But they put out, certain ones. Again, another company that puts out a lot of special features. If you're looking for special features, Arrow, Scream Factory, Vinegar Syndrome are probably the top for that. But you get standard Blu-ray. This one sometimes comes with a slipcover. But I do not own it. But this is what you'll get for the standard type things. Then there's some that come with slipcovers. They put it out for a limited run kind of deal where it's like 2,500 or 1,000 or something like that. That'll come with the slipcovers. And if you don't, it does, like I said, just come with the standard type deal. But this is another company, like I said, that has really good special features. And then they put out box sets, whether it be the Angel box set. They have the Amityville. This is the Amityville Cursed box set. They have a whole bunch of like collections, I guess you want to call it, from certain directors or certain actors or actresses. They'll put a collection together. But they put out a whole bunch of stuff. Now going into maybe lesser known companies out there that have different things to check out. Black Fawn Films. They're actually from Canada. They have a whole bunch of movies. Better the Dead, and this is the one I have. I believe Horsehead as well is Black Fawn. I could be mistaken by that, but Black Fawn from Canada. They do have a whole bunch of stuff out there. This one I get, every once in a while I'll get movies to review for them, and that's Rlje Films. These happen to be two of the more, popular ones. There's also VFW and Trick. Some of those are good titles as well, but Color of Space, the recent ones with Nicolas Cage, Mandy happens to be, one of the more popular ones. Color Out of Space, should I say, with what's his name? Freaking Nicolas Cage. That's Rlje Films. They put out a whole bunch of stuff. Sometimes horror, sometimes it's like Galveston and movies like that. This one is another one that has I don't know if it's a collector series or all their movies just have numbers on it. It's Darkside Releasing. This happens to be Virgin Cheerleaders in Chains. They got a whole bunch of stuff. You would have to go to their website to check it out. They are rather expensive, between like $20 to $25 a movie. That's why I don't have as many from Darkside Releasing. This is Uncorked. Probably one of the, especially if you're into independent horror. The Ranger is probably one of the newer ones that most people might know about. This was, a park ranger gone mad kind of deal. Then you get like the Night Sitter, the Dinner Party just came out. So that's another one, Uncorked Entertainment. Then you get Full Moon. It's all over the place. A lot of it is from like the 80s and early 90s kind of deal. I don't know, even further from that. But I know a lot of the titles are from like the 80s and 90s. The Sorority Babes in the Slide Bowl, Bolorama. One of the other titles, Castle Freak. Then you get like Puppet Master and stuff like that. But Full Moon is another one that I enjoy. This one, IFC Midnight happens to, team up with Scream Factory a lot. If you look at, especially the newer titles that come out in the Scream Factory line, not, the collector's edition from movies from, earlier, they'll put out a lot of IFC Midnight titles, but then IFC Midnight kind of has their own company that they put out their own movies. ATM happens to be one that I checked out that I recently liked. At the Devil's Door. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that just is under the IFC Midnight title, I guess you want to call it, or name. You have Blue Underground. They have a whole bunch of different type movies. A lot of their stuff is like 80s slashers and stuff like that. This is a special edition 3-disc set. Then you have like Manhattan Baby, which is another 3-disc set. Synapse Films is another one that puts out a lot of again, obscure horror movies. I guess it depends on who you talk to and who might know about them. Like Suspiria, everybody knows about. They put out a lot of horror titles. This company puts out a little bit of everything. I tend to collect some of the horror movies, but then they put out a lot of, I don't want to say documentary style movies, but some of them are action movies and stuff like that. But then you get Gravitas Ventures, which puts out a little bit of everything. This is more on the independent side. This happens to be one of my favorite out of the collection, Bomb City. I think I mentioned it a couple times. This company here, one of my favorites, they put out a lot of independent horror movies. They'll have action movies. They have like kung fu movies here and there. But it's Magnet. It's a offshoot of Magnolia kind of deal. One of the more famous, probably well-known movies is Tucker and Dale versus Evil. But then you get like Last Shift. You get Troll Hunter, which is another one that I think some people might know about. But definitely one that I enjoy a lot of more, not even lower budget. It's like really well done. It's just that I don't know if it was picked up by, some of the bigger, well, it definitely wasn't picked up by the bigger companies. But if you put, Universal or something on there, I wouldn't think twice. This one is Artsploitation Films. I just did a review for Dead Dicks, but this is a company that puts out movies from the U.S., puts out from all over the world that might have a little bit harder time, whether it be like this one is very intense. If you've never seen Troma, one of those companies that put out movies that are just either way out there or very gory that might not, fit U.S. regulations kind of deal. But I say definitely check out Artsploitation Films. This one is Dark Sky Films. Probably one of the bigger known names is Deathgasm. But then you got movies like Starry Eyes, and you got what's another one? Bitch, I think the movie is called, about the woman that kind of just loses her mind and starts acting like a dog. This is another company, another series, I guess you want to call it. It's put out by Dread Presents. Epic Pictures puts it out. It's under the Dread Presents or Dread Central's Dread Presents kind of deal. One of the more well-known titles, especially now. Terrifier is under that. I think there's like 20-something titles, but another one's Candy Corn. You have Harpoon, which is another good one. A whole bunch of movies, but those are numbered as well. Like I said, I think there's 20-something. Circus of the Dead is one that's coming out soon, but that's another company I think you all should check out. This is Scream Team Releasing. One of the probably well-known ones is The Barn, but this is more independent, a little lower budget horror movies, but then you get 1031, which is an anthology film, 1031 Part 2. So that puts out more, independent kind of stuff, lower budget. This company has been around for a long time, since like the 80s and stuff like that. And they put out from, Toxic Avenger or Toxic Avenger, Toxic Crusaders. Then you get Rabid Grannies, Troma. What Troma, if you've seen a Troma movie, it's pretty much, you can watch a movie and know it's Troma, just for, the lower budgetness of it, the just craziness all over the top, all over, crazy antics and stuff like that. If you've seen a Troma movie, you know exactly that it's a Troma movie kind of deal. Really fun, over-the-top stuff. Is it for everyone? I wouldn't say it, but I'd say check it out. They span from, like I said, the 80s to even now. They got Return to Nukem High, Return to Nukem High Part 2. Shakespeare's Shitstorm is coming out soon. So this kind of just spans all over the place. Some of these companies, they kind of just have, the 80s and 90s, not even the 90s, like 80s, 70s, 60s, stuff like that. They really don't delve into newer stuff. And then the last one I want to talk about is another one that puts out like lower budget titles, but they're not like low budget, but definitely, not on the spectrum, huge spectrum as some. They have like Zombies is another one that they have. Hold Your Breath is another one, but probably the one movie, or should I say 6 movies that this company is known for is Sharknado. I don't know if they're all under the Asylum is the company that I'm talking about. I don't know if they're all under the Asylum brand, but I know the first couple are Asylum movies. You'll know an Asylum movie if you're watching and you're like, okay, this is, lower budget, but it's not like campy lower budget kind of deal. It's probably Asylum. And one of the other ones I want to talk about, I'm not 100% sure if this company is still, around and kicking, but I do own some of the movies. That's Accelerator L Rator. So XL Raider, but Accelerator kind of deal. They put out a lot of, again, lower budget horror movies. I do, as you can tell, most of my collection is horror movies. So I'm sure, like Magnolia, that's another one. I don't know what sister company that is, but it's like independent type deal. A24, of course, is a Lionsgate offshoot kind of deal. What's this one here? The Focus, under the Universal brand, but Focus Entertainment is like the independent type style of movies. What else is I'm trying to think what other non-horror, companies there are that I can, I should have been, more attentive or more, ready for this. But I'm going to leave it at that just because, I can probably just go through my entire collection and find, different, smaller companies and stuff like that. But you should check it out as well because there are a lot of, movies out there that I put out in it, by the you know, people themselves, or if they have like a really small studio kind of deal. But these are some of the companies I think you should definitely check out if you're looking, like I said, to collect different things, if you've never heard of some of these companies. But what I'm going to try to do is break down, you know, the collections that I do have. I did, like I said, the Vestron collection. Every once in a while, when I add more titles, I'll do my Screen Factory collection kind of deal, just showing off the titles. I've never done a Kino Lober, but if you can tell right behind me, like this whole shelf is Kino titles, which they're always, you know, going on sale and stuff like that. So you should always check out, especially if you want to, you know, grow your collection. Look for sales that are always around, and look for these companies, because I think there'll be movies that pretty much are in there for everyone. So if you found this interesting, if you found, you know, some of the companies that you've never heard before, you know, hit that subscribe button, because that's what you'll get from this channel, is pretty much movie talk all the time. If you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, and of course hit, like I always say, hit the bell button, so you know when I do upload, whether it's stuff like this or movie reviews or whatever have you. If you haven't already, check out the unboxing for Midsummer Director's Cut. It is an interesting looking Blu-ray, so check that out. And I guess that's really about it. So I guess until next time, I'll see you guys.